Have you ever gotten a strange text from a friend? Maybe a little out of character? What if that friend disappeared, but the texts didn't stop? What if they became angry, threatening, and obsessive? For 3 years, that was the reality for the family and friends of Cari Farver. This is the story of Cari Farver, a woman who vanished in November 2012, yet seemed to be everywhere at once. One moment, she was a loving mother and a dependable employee in Macedonia, Iowa. The next, she was gone. But her digital life exploded. Her phone started sending thousands of messages. Texts, emails, social media posts, all from Cari. Or so everyone thought. Her boyfriend, Dave Kropa, bore the brunt of it. He received an endless stream of messages, sometimes dozens a day. They started off strange, but quickly escalated into a torrent of rage and jealousy. "I hate you," one text would say. "I'm watching you," another would warn. She seemed to know his every move, describing what he was wearing, who he was with, where he was going. It was as if she was a ghost, haunting his life from the shadows. Cari's mother, Nancy, also received messages. They were cold and distant, completely unlike her daughter. Cari claimed she needed a break and was starting a new life elsewhere. She quit her job via text. She told her mother she was fine, but never to contact her again. She missed birthdays, holidays, her own son's major life events. For her family, it was a confusing and heartbreaking nightmare. How could the woman they loved turn into this cruel, unrecognizable stranger? The harassment didn't stop with just messages. Dave Kropa's life became a living hell. His car was vandalized multiple times. He'd find strange things happening around his apartment. The digital stalking was bleeding into the real world, creating an atmosphere of constant fear and paranoia. Who was this person, and what did she want? Everyone, including the police, believed Cari Farver had snapped. They painted a picture of a woman suffering a severe mental breakdown, obsessed with a man who had moved on, and on the run from the life she once knew. She was labeled a stalker, a menace who was terrorizing people from an unknown location. But there was another woman in Dave Kropa's life, Shauna Liz Gollier. She had also briefly dated Dave around the same time as Cari. And strangely, Liz was also a victim of Cari's supposed harassment. She received threatening messages too. She told Dave she was terrified, that this crazy Cari was after her as well. Liz seemed to be in the same boat as Dave, a fellow victim of a relentless cyberstalker. She was a supportive friend to him, someone who understood what he was going through. They grew closer, bonded by their shared trauma. At one point, Liz's house even burned down, and she blamed Cari Farver. The police believed her. The narrative was set. Cari was a dangerous fugitive. For 3 long years, this digital haunting continued. 3 years of fear, confusion, and torment for everyone involved. The case seemed cold. How do you find a person who doesn't want to be found? A person who exists only as angry words on a screen. But investigators in Pottawatomie County, particularly detectives Ryan Avis and Jim Doty, couldn't let it go. Something felt wrong. The sheer volume and consistency of the messages were baffling. How could one person on the run maintain such an intense, all-consuming campaign of harassment for years without a single mistake? They decided to dig deeper, not just into Cari's disappearance, but into the digital trail she left behind. This is where the story takes a turn that is more terrifying than any ghost story. The investigators started a painstaking process of digital forensics. They pulled records for all the emails, the texts, the social media accounts. They wanted to find the IP addresses, the cell tower locations, anything that could pinpoint where these messages were actually coming from. And they found something chilling. The messages from Cari were often sent from locations very close to Liz Gollier. In fact, many of the apps and accounts used to send the harassing messages were linked back to devices and networks owned or used by Liz. It was a stunning revelation. The victim was starting to look like a suspect. The investigators built their case piece by piece, like a complex digital puzzle. They discovered that Liz had used various apps to disguise her phone number, making it look like the texts were coming from Cari. She had meticulously scheduled emails and posts to create the illusion that Cari was alive and active online, even when Liz herself was at work or with other people. She was a master of digital manipulation, weaving a web of lies so intricate that it had fooled everyone for years. The most horrifying discovery came when they examined the contents of Liz's own devices. They found a photo on a memory card. It was a picture of a human foot. The foot had a distinctive tattoo on it, a Chinese symbol for a mother. Nancy Farver, Cari's mom, confirmed it was her daughter's tattoo. The photo was dated just days after Cari was last seen alive in 2012. The truth was finally revealed, and it was monstrous. Cari Farver had never left. She never sent a single one of those thousands of messages. On November 13, 2012, Liz Gollier, consumed by a jealous obsession with Dave Kropa, had gone to Cari's apartment. She murdered Cari Farver in cold blood. Then, she stole Cari's phone, her car, and her entire digital identity. For 3 years, Liz Gollier didn't just impersonate a dead woman. She became her. She used Cari's digital ghost to terrorize the man she wanted, to manipulate her way into his life, and to frame her victim for her own crimes. The house fire? Liz set it herself to gain sympathy and further vilify Cari. The vandalism, the threats, it was all Liz. She had single-handedly orchestrated a 3-year campaign of psychological warfare, all while pretending to be a victim. This wasn't just a murder. It was a complete erasure of one person's identity and the hijacking of their life to commit unimaginable cruelty. Cari's family had grieved the loss of the daughter they knew, believing she had abandoned them. Dave Kropa lived in fear of a woman he once cared for. All of it was a lie, constructed by the real monster who was standing right next to them the whole time. In 2016, Liz Gollier was arrested. When confronted with the evidence, she continued to deny everything, sticking to her elaborate story. But the digital breadcrumbs she had left were undeniable. She was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. Cari Farver's car was eventually found, and investigators discovered her blood inside, confirming the violent end she had met. Her body, however, has never been located. The Cari Farver case is a landmark in criminal history. It's a terrifying example of how technology can be twisted into a weapon. It shows how our digital footprints, our online lives, can be stolen and used to create a completely false reality. Liz Gollier didn't just kill Cari Farver. She made her into a villain, turning her friends and family against her memory. It's a phenomenon that has been called stalking from the grave, a modern horror story that reminds us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters aren't ghosts, but the people right beside us. Thank you for watching. This case is a heavy one, and it serves as a chilling reminder of the dark side of digital identity. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more deep dives into true crime mysteries. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.